Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Geek podcast, where we celebrate geek, nerd, and pop culture. Each week, we deliver the best analysis for fans, by fans, on anything related to movies, TV, video games, comics, anime, and manga. We talk geek. And now, here's the Get Geek podcast.
Hey, y'all. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Get Geek podcast. This is Jose.
This is Wolfie.
Hey, Jay.
This is Eli.
And this is the Watcher, Walt.
Damn, that was good. That was good.
Like that, right?
Eli, I love the hesitation that you're starting to build into your character. Like that thing you do on CrossGen where you act like you don't remember your name before you announce your name. You're like bringing that to Get Geek. So
yes,
that's like that. I think AJ, you should just do your sound checks for your intro, and like we should just start making those public because those are pretty funny. But
yes,
That would be kind of funny.
yes.
I
At
think
some point we have to do a blooper reel of all the soundtracks.
Yes.
I mean, CrossGen, y'all generally tend to
They're
start
not ready.
on CrossGen. Y'all generally tend
Fans,
to start.
you're
with
not
the,
ready.
with the
Oh, yes.
sound checks,
yes.
right? So that's like your guys' little
Yes, we do.
bit of
We're
personality. But we got a great episode for you all
fans,
today.
You're not ready.
Nah, they're not ready for those sound checks that we jump on every morning with the ridiculousness before we get started. But let's get started because we got a great episode today. Yes. The normal disclaimers. We're recording remotely. That's all I'm going to say about it. Y'all know this. Y'all know what the pros and cons are of that. The best way to support your favorite podcast crew, the Get Geek podcast, is to like, rate, share, and subscribe on all of your favorite podcast platforms. On Apple Podcasts, send us a review. That's a great way to support your favorite podcast crew. And on all of our social media platforms, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, like, comment, and share our social media posts. And let us know if there's anything that you want us to talk about. We're always open to feedback. So slide into them DMs as always and let us know what you think of the show and what you want to hear in the future. And Walt, I know that you have a couple of things that you'd like to say, sir. Would you mind jumping in?
Yes, sir. Sure. As all of you guys know, Get Geek is all about the fans, and so today I wanted to give a special shout out to Raul from the Apple Store over at the Queens Center Mall here in New York. New subscriber to the podcast.
Welcome.
We went over there on Wednesday because my mother-in-law's phone was acting up, and because of course I was wearing this shirt,
Darth Maul.
and Darth Maul. Raul, being the geek that he is, instantly we got into a conversation about Star Wars and Clone Wars in particular.
Yes.
And so, like I said, it made a awesome Genius Bar appointment even better when you can speak geek to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So we had a really good conversation about Star Wars. And like I said, Raul, I would like to welcome you to the Get Geek community. And again, a mall fan, Wolfie.
It's always cool.
saying.
It's always cool when people can pick out people cosplaying in the streets. You know, you're wearing like a mall top, and then you're providing the bottom half since he doesn't have any legs. It's cool. This is like this is like before. This is pre episode 1 mall, right?
You know, this is supposed to be a positive announcement. Right? I'm just saying. Anyway,
Thank you, Raul.
Raul, welcome. Yes,
Thank you for your fandom
and welcome to Get Geek.
and for geeking out about
the other
Darth
thing
Maul.
Oh, hey! What is this? What is this? Hold on.
I'm usually
I thought
good.
At least I had one guy on my side.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay,
That's a good one.
All right, I'll stop.
betrayed by blood here.
By your
You
own
know what I'm saying?
family.
Interesting.
You were supposed to be my brother.
There you go. All right.
Go
The
ahead.
other thing I wanted to announce is we wanted to announce the formation of the Talents 55 Studio Network. And so we have 3 podcasts that are under this network, and you can go find us either at our Instagram page at Talons55
That's
Studios,
Talons with a
or you can
Z.
go to
Talons with a Z.
Talons with a Z, or you can head over to the Talons 55 Studios website, which is www.talons55studios.captivate.fm. And from there, you can kind of pick and choose what podcast you want to hear. Of course, you've got this awesome Get Geek podcast, but we also have two other podcasts under the banner. If you're not aware, we have the CrossGen podcast, which is hosted by myself and my two kids, and we have the Positively Cynical podcast, which is hosted by Jose. And you have
my co-host, my co-host
your co-host.
Question. He has a real name.
That's what is
but that's the name he
there you
chose.
go. So
Yeah.
Positively Cynical is more of an opinion type podcast. I would say.
Yes, sir.
It deals with political and news topic themes and stuff like that. CrossGen is just a mash of just everything. I mean, we hit
Anything.
pop culture, we hit conspiracy theories, we hit mobile games, particularly Dragon Ball Legends and
No more Dragon Ball
That's
Legends.
just a
That game is
podcast for y'all to
dead.
argue about Dragon Ball Legends. That's not about nothing.
Dragon Ball Legends is dead.
So CrossGen is just whatever we have on our minds, it just comes out on a
Stream of
on the
consciousness.
podcast. So again, I invite all of you guys to check out the website and the Instagram page. We'll have some more exciting news coming through. And on that note, I think we should get started, guys.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. What if we got started, you guys? What if we did that?
What if we got started? Let me ask you guys a question.
All right.
Let me ask you guys a question. Everyone here has seen What If,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
What
so.
if we didn't?
I don't know.
No, we have.
We definitely
What
have.
if I didn't?
Maybe.
Yeah.
What if you didn't?
Exactly.
Yeah,
What if I didn't?
What if you not seen?
Seriously?
You haven't seen
Like
any
I
of it?
said, it would be it's going to be a fun podcast.
Oh,
No, I
man.
haven't actually. I haven't had any time to watch any of it, but I've been reading and keeping up. One of the things that I've done that I absolutely hate doing is spoiling myself, but I didn't really have a choice here. So I am up on What If Game, but I didn't actually see any of the episodes.
Oh, wow, man.
So this is a good opportunity to ask questions then.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that I'm going to provide the perspective of the listener and the viewer that hasn't seen What If, and they might want to be listening to this podcast to see if What If it's worth watching.
Yeah.
All right.
There
So
you
this is
go.
like a question and answer session, kind of.
Sort of. So I mean,
Sorta.
like, why don't we get started? I kind of want to get like first opinions on not the episodes, but like the show as a whole
Overall.
so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you guys think so far? Is it giving you Loki vibes, or is it giving you Bad Batch vibes?
That's interesting.
As far as like excitement level, engagement, and all that.
If you don't mind, let me get started because I do want
Do
to
it.
add on top of that what not only we think, but what the general consensus of What If is right now. Because if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, the season 1 of What If has garnered a 93% approval rating over at Rotten Tomatoes. Now, Rotten Tomatoes again is a little bit weird in how they rate these things because they deal only in positive and negatives. I usually like to go check out Metacritic because that's more of a weighted average. Over there, they have it as 69%. So that's what the general public thinks. I think, me personally, that What If at this point is definitely a worth watch, but I would have to say that one of the episodes stands out much better than the other. And there hasn't been a consistency yet with the episodes that I would like to see, and I'm kind of used to seeing with Marvel Studios. One episode was, like I said, really, really great. One episode was good. One episode was kind of I could.
So you mean consistency in in the quality of the episode, not necessarily the story?
I would say both. I would say both
Mhm.
because
That'd be
one
interesting because it's like it doesn't seem like this is the kind of thing that would be a consistent episodic show,
right,
no?
and maybe that's why I'm kind of in that opinion here because, like I said, there was one episode that I found stellar, um, and there are emotional and obvious reasons to that. And there
I
was
think I
one.
know what episode you're talking about.
Yeah, and just on that note, it is important to note that it is Sunday, August 29th that we're recording this episode. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of Chadwick Boseman's passing,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
I just wanted to put that out there. But like I said, I'm still all in with What If. I think maybe it's still trying to find its footing. In my opinion,
Okay.
Okay, boys.
Well,
Oh
my
boy.
thoughts. Okay. My
Oh
thoughts
boy.
on What If is
corny.
no. It's not corny.
Cheddar corn.
It's just see, like you said, it's really not that consistent.
Chet.
It's yeah, chet. It's good at some points, but then at some points it's just like it falls off. For me, and I really don't like that because, as you said, I'm really not that used to it. So yeah,
Does it fall off for you because again, like it like the story doesn't necessarily make sense, or does it fall
some
off just because like it's
like
like narratively it's a little bit disconnected?
like no, it's not that, but it's mainly because well, while it is narratively disconnected, it just feels like some episodes were really good and then some episodes were just bland. And I think you know what I'm
Okay.
talking about, Walt.
Yep.
But yeah,
I guess
that's
we're gonna have to
basically
get into that because
yeah.
so far
So
2 out of 5. Well, the Melger household seems to so far concur on AJ.
the Milgar boys.
What if I was just waiting for Ultron?
Is he supposed to? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
He is a huge Ultron fan, folks. So just so you know.
He is.
Okay, no, but
Supposed
seriously,
to do a voice.
uh, mm, it's been okay so far. The first one, while good, kind of landed weird
Yeah.
for me. Like they kind of went this let's go the Cthulhu route at the end, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
sure, right. That was absolutely necessary. Um,
That's possibly a
the
villain
second one,
from Marvel named Shumagorath, but that's another discussion we can have in a little bit. Go ahead. It's a Doctor Strange villain.
yeah.
Also.
The second one, oh, okay. The second one, that one was considerably better. If that's the one I'm thinking of, with
Star Lord.
yes,
Yeah.
it was considerably better and funnier.
The Star-Lord.
The third one, I'm gonna say it had a kind of interesting twist, is what I'll say about that. Otherwise, overall, I really am just waiting for one character in particular.
All right, I'll jump in with my opinions
All right.
of the show as well to specifically answer in terms of
Please,
enthusiasm
please.
between Bad
Tell
Batch
us.
and Loki. I have almost
Okay.
no enthusiasm for
Okay.
Bad Batch. I'm not sure if that's come across on any previous episodes. I'm really slogging through it, and I know that I've heard that it ends on a more solid note. Again, that's kind of reading into reviews and getting other people's opinions, which I'm not trying to do too much here. Loki, I mean, I was watching that as soon as I could, like in the morning on Wednesday before work. I would watch episodes of Loki. I was super into Loki. This is somewhere in the middle, probably closer to Loki than Bad Batch. So if you wanted to talk about enthusiasm, let's say Bad Batch is a
Okay.
0. It's not exactly a 0. That's not true because I'm still
Oh my
interested.
God.
But let's say
Wow.
that's a 0 and Loki is a 10. I would say What If is like in between like a 6 or a 7, right? And again, that's
Okay.
not 0 in this case is not like I don't want to watch this at all. It's like I'm watching it, but I'm not super enthusiastic about it. And yeah, it's true.
That kind of goes in line with the Metacritic rating.
Is that what the Metacritic rating was
Okay.
kind of?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's 69%.
Exactly.
You're right there. So you're kind of exactly what everybody's feeling.
Right, and that's not even necessarily my numerical review for the episodes, but that might be kind of close, in the sense that okay, I kind of feel the same way that most of the crew does. The first episode was fun. The second episode was more fun for emotional reasons, and I think because of the fact that it really took the what if concept and like went crazy with it. Like they changed a lot of stuff and a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And the third episode changed almost nothing, really, because they just redid some of the intros for these characters, but instead we know what happened, right? And then the end of the third episode I thought was entertaining and interesting. The conflict and the misdirect, but then it kind of ended on a cliffhanger that I semi-expected and semi-liked. But since I don't know, there's supposed to be a narrative thread through these shows. This has been stated by the creators of the shows.
Supposedly.
It is canon.
Well, everything is supposed to be canon.
Yeah, exactly. So there's something that's going to connect. This is kind of like I was talking to a friend of mine. It's like I haven't watched all the seasons, but like AJ could probably relate to this. It's a little bit like American Horror Story, where the first few seasons you don't see how they're going to connect, but then supposedly by the end of What If, we're going to see that connection. Apparently, Captain Carter is going to be a big through line through the entire show. But like, yeah, in terms of first impressions, there's some enthusiasm for it, but it's like kind of like, oh, this is a fun little show. It's not like, oh man, I can't wait until next week's episode. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it right now.
Right.
So why don't we go right into the episodes then? So far we got 3 episodes as we've been pretty much discussing, and the very first episode is what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger, right? This and before we get into it, it's kind of funny hearing like from your perspectives, one was good, one was great because of emotional reasons, and the other one was meh. And also the point that I think Walt was making, where it felt like one was like really like diving into what if, and the other ones, especially the third one, wasn't too much into it. It's interesting because when I read everything, just reading what's going on in the episodes, it does seem, from without watching it, just reading the synopsis of everything, it does seem like each episode is very much what if from my perspective. But anyway, let's go into that first episode of what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger. And I think what's interesting about this one is a couple things happen in the episode from what I see, but I want to get into that after you guys kind of discuss the episode itself. Okay, now I don't necessarily want to give like a full recap of each episode, right? Because what if we have listeners that haven't seen it? But just kind of a general thought on the things that have happened in this first episode, where instead of Steve Rogers, Peggy Carter gets the serum, the super soldier serum, and she becomes the holder of the shield. So, guys,
So my favorite change, I enjoyed Captain Carter. I'm actually excited at the possibility that we might see her in live action, because there's a lot of talk that Captain Carter will come to live action after What If has concluded. So I'm excited about that. I actually enjoyed Peggy Carter in the films that she was in. I haven't seen Agent Carter, to be frank, but I heard it's a great show, and it was one of the shows that was kind of underrated among the Marvel TV shows, right?
It is.
Haley Atwell's a great actor. I enjoy her a great deal. But the part of the episode that I enjoyed the most was when they turned Steve Rogers into the original Iron Man. I thought that was really, really fun. The way that they kind of like misdirect, because at the beginning of the episode, when they change and make that decision, the decision that Peggy makes, apparently, that changes everything. She decides to stay in the room when they're doing the super soldier procedure to turn Steve Rogers into Captain America. And so she ends up being directly involved in like the terrorist attempt to like try to stop the project. And then Steve gets shot. So you're like, oh, in that moment, you're like, oh man, is Steve Rogers going to die? Which he doesn't. And then for me, at that moment, it was kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of stupid. They can't kill Steve Rogers on this show. That's silly. But then them changing it up and turning him into an Iron Man, I thought was a really, really fun detail. Having the original Iron Man suit that like Tony Stark built in a freaking cave in the first Iron Man movie. So that was a fun like what if change detail. Um,
Yeah.
the I mean, overall, it was entertaining. The action was fun. The characters recapping their roles in most cases, except for Sebastian Stan. him doing Bucky in this episode, you could tell he didn't want to be there. His voice acting was terrible. I have to comment on it because he's just like, I don't even want to like
Yeah,
mention some of the
it
lines. He's
kind of
just
was.
basically like he's phoning it in. And in
Well, I mean,
comparison, not to
Sebastian
jump,
Stan kind of plays Bucky like that.
yeah, well, he plays it a little bit better in the films, I think, like because Sebastian Stan's a good actor. He's been in other stuff like
I
that.
guess.
That movie where he was with Margot Robbie. It's about Nancy Kerrigan and that whole thing.
Sure, but
Um,
I think like if I think back about the Falcon and Captain America and the Winter Soldier,
mhm.
um, most of those episodes he was really just like kind of droll and kind of like I don't
Yeah.
want to do this crap.
But remember, this
So
is before he becomes the Winter Soldier. This is Captain America, the first Avenger, Bucky, where he's a
Yeah,
smartass.
he's just Bucky.
In this, like, you know what it is too. Like, so I'll give you this much: Sebastian Stan very much is an actor that does a lot with his face. So him being animated
Mhm.
definitely takes away from it. But like, and I'll let somebody else jump in. But if you compare it to like, for me, episode 2 and Djimon Hansu playing that Ravager again, that dude is having a blast doing the voice acting in this one. When he like greets Star Lord at the beginning, he's like the amazing Star Lord. Like he's so excited. You can tell that Djimon
Yeah.
Hansu is having fun. So like for me, that's kind
I
of like the
wonder
idea behind
if
that.
Sebastian
Yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if Sebastian Stan has some difficulty being in a studio on voice recording. Maybe that has something to do with it. Because
Possible.
listen, voice recording is not an easy
No.
thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's a whole
Because
different skill set.
exactly.
Mhm.
So I wonder if maybe that has, and I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm just speculating because we do know Sebastian Stan as being a really, really good actor. You know, that I
Mhm.
think we can all agree on that. You know, and he's played Bucky and the Winter Soldier extremely well, you know, during the whole MCU and stuff like that. So I wonder if maybe there was some difficulty in getting that performance out of him in the voice studio, as opposed to, like you said, he's more of a visual actor. He plays on a lot of facial cues to
Mhm.
kind of bring that up. And again, voice acting is a totally different beast. You have to kind of put everything together in your voice, because the real actor is the animation, right? That's where you're going to see those visual cues, those, you know, those moments that actors really live for, right? It's all in
Yeah.
the eyes,
And
right?
you know,
That's what they
in
say.
comparison to Falcon
So
and the Winter
it
Soldier,
could be that
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I thought he did great. You know,
there was a difference, though. I do agree with that. There was a
what
difference.
else did you
I,
want to
ha-
say?
I
Mhm.
Go ahead.
no, I have a question that's kind of and I hate to use this term, but it can be a little politically charged, especially in this day and age.
Oh
How do
boy.
you guys feel about Peggy Carter as Captain America?
I don't have an issue with it. I really don't.
She's
I
not
mean,
Neither.
you know,
technically Captain
there
America. She's
is
more like Captain Britain, if anything. But yeah, I
I
see what you're
guess,
saying.
but
yeah,
you
She's the
know,
original super
but
soldier.
you know the internet trolls, the
exactly.
internet
That's the
trolls
reason.
out there are going to be screaming, "Oh, you know,
Well, they have
you're
been.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You're recasting, you're appropriating all this other stuff. I really don't have a problem with it. I mean, you know, if my thing is if it fits narratively within the story, who cares? These are fictional
It's what
characters, right?
if.
These are
Hmm.
characters that are meant to be changed all over again. And exactly, it's a what if. I
Yeah,
mean, seriously, guys, come on, give me a
right.
break. You know what I'm saying?
It's a silly complaint when you see what they do with other
So
characters on there.
Yeah,
I, I'm just gonna say this. In terms of this being the opening episode of What If, I wish they had probably, and I guess this is where maybe you and I might disagree, Jose, because I thought this one is the weaker of the three so far.
what?
Um,
Real?
just in my opinion, because you
Yeah.
know what,
Mhm.
it felt, and maybe it has to do with the fact that it came first, and you had all that anticipation for What If, and they gave us this episode, and seeing how the second episode was much much stronger, I think that's where my maybe my bias toward this first episode lies. Boys, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it was the weaker out of the three, but um, for me, I felt that the first one had a lot of problems, mainly with it. Obviously, considering it's such a short episode, it felt very rushed for this episode, specifically.
Hmm.
Because mainly they had to go through this whole entire story, which they didn't really have to do with Star Lord, as they basically sort of fast forward through time with him being a kid, and then
Hmm.
yeah, obviously him being Star Lord.
Hmm.
So this one for me, it felt like they were pushing everything too much. It would have been better if it was 2 episodes, but obviously we're talking about what if here, so it wouldn't technically make sense. But otherwise, for me, it was still the best episode out of the three, at least in my
This first
opinion.
one.
Mainly because I like the
Oh,
What was
okay.
what was
Wow,
your
okay.
That's
what was
interesting.
the thing that you really enjoyed about it, Eli? I'm curious to see why it was your favorite episode. Like, what's your favorite part of this episode, or your favorite character, your favorite scene? What really stood out to you?
well, mainly because obviously you had the Steve Rogers as the original Iron Man
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
Peggy Carter as Captain America, but it was it was fun, and it was me because I don't really remember the original Captain America, if I'm being honest. It's been a while.
Hmm.
It's sort of it felt like it was refreshed for me, at least, because I don't really have
Okay.
anything to compare it to since I don't remember it. So it felt new.
Interesting.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I definitely enjoyed Ross
that's my thing.
Marquand reprising his role as the Red Skull. I like that guy and his impressions
He's always so good.
from The
Yes.
Walking Dead and all of that.
Yes.
So yeah. Hmm.
AJ, you have any quick thoughts? I have one thing that I do want to bring up regarding the episode itself, but AJ, you got any thoughts on it?
Not really. You guys really hit on everything that I had in mind, so
The
we can
one thing
move
that I
on.
wanted to bring up, is that in the episode itself, going back to the whole Peggy Carter thing, Peggy Carter was reluctantly given the title of Captain Carter.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know that, like, if I remember correctly, there was no reluctance in giving Steve Rogers the title of Captain
Hmm.
America, and we're talking about after the serum, not before the
Yeah.
serum. So there was kind of some inherent, I guess, misogyny
Pushback.
in the episode. Like they were kind of like maybe representing the fact that that actually does exist
Hmm.
in the
Well,
episode, and then you
I,
see it on the internet as well.
It's almost
I
like
also think it's
Falcon and the Winter
representative
Soldier.
of the time,
Right,
the
right.
time frame, the
Yes,
time
that's true.
period.
Hmm.
I think that's more the reason why they included it, because you got to look at it this way. In the 40s, women didn't
For
have the same
sure.
type of rights that they do now, and that's still a work in progress,
Yep.
you know.
Hmm. Yeah, and it was definitely that hesitancy with the Bradley Whitford character to allow it. Like the guy who was like the military person, whoever he was, he didn't want to allow her to become Captain Carter, and he kept reiterating like women weren't supposed to fight and all this other stuff. But yeah,
Right.
it gave me
And
Captain America, or excuse me, Falcon and the Winter Soldier vibes, as in you're not allowed to be Captain America because of whatever race, sex, whatever it is. So it had that similar vibe.
and just to add on to that, as being probably one of the only guys that did watch the Agent Carter series, that was a big theme in that series also, the fact that she was a woman and she was kind of the founder of Shield. That played a lot into those episodes as well, where she was always constantly trying to prove herself to her male
Yeah.
superiors and stuff like that. So it kind of works well with the What If episode, because it falls into that same theme.
Oh,
It's just it's
Yeah.
interesting that we have like that whole like, oh, we're representing the times, and yet it's very clear that times haven't changed that much.
Nope.
At least
Yeah.
from the social media perspective.
I mean, the fact that this is
Um,
even in the
but
episode is telling that this is the conflict in this episode
yeah,
to this day that
right,
they keep it in there.
right.
You know? Cool. Can I say just one super
So
quick
moving
thing
on,
that's
yeah.
funny?
Oh,
I thought it was hilarious how
cool.
much
And then we can
Agent
move on to the
Carter.
next episode.
Yeah, I just thought it was hilarious how Agent Carter like absolutely enjoyed murdering the crap out of Nazis in this episode because she killed every one of them. I don't care what you think. If you're like flinging your shield in some guy's face or knocking him through a car or like kicking a motorcycle into a freaking tower where guys are shooting at you, those guys are dead. She was having way too much fun killing people in this episode. Moving on. Moving on. Yeah, she was having AJ
I mean,
levels of Grand Theft Auto.
like they didn't make any.
fun.
Yeah, I don't think they were
The
trying to
horror.
mask anything by giving Rogers the Hydra Stomper suit.
Yeah, no kidding.
But anyway, the second episode, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? Now this is interesting, right? Because this came out the 25th. It was the second episode. I wonder why it wasn't, the most recent episode, considering
Yeah.
the anniversary of Boseman's death. I think that it would have been a heck of a way to honor him. Not that they didn't honor him with the episode, but if they were going to release it, why not release it, on the weekend of the anniversary of his passing? So
He
but
is
yes,
supposed
anyway,
to be in
please
another episode.
discuss.
Just as something to mention. He did reprise that role again, or at least the T'Challa
right,
role
right.
in
But
another
this is the first
coming
time that
episode.
we're hearing him again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do kind of agree with
Right.
you. That would have
But
been
this is the first time that we're hearing him after.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
It would have been a nice homage.
So I was surprised actually a little bit. I wanna hear your thoughts, Walt. But I'm a little bit surprised because from the intro first thoughts, I assumed that everyone in your house was like, all right, this is the best episode. Then the episode 3 was the second best, and episode 1 was the second best, and so on and so forth. So the fact that this wasn't the unanimous favorite episode in the household, would love to hear your thoughts on this first. Am I
for
wrong?
Me,
Is
for me,
this your favorite episode?
This is my favorite episode.
Okay.
This for me, this was clearly the far superior of the 3 so far that we've seen.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, of course. And I guess I wonder if some of that is tinged with the emotional knowledge of knowing that, this was Chadwick Boseman that was reprising the role, and we haven't heard from him since his passing. But if I try and put that aside, I mean, this was the most what if out of all the what if episodes, and the way that they treated it was very, very, very well done. I mean, you had the change of obviously T'Challa becoming Star-Lord, and instead of what's his name, whistle guy, God, I can't remember. Yandu. Forgive me.
Yeah.
Instead of Yandu picking up Peter Quill, it's him picking up T'Challa, and kind of stealing him away from Earth and raising him as his own, which had very, very profound changes, not only to the Ravagers but to the entire universe. Almost, it's literally the butterfly effect, right? Where instead of it being Peter Quill, it's T'Challa, and the changes are profound. I mean, for God's sakes, Thanos is a revelation in this episode.
He's a freaking
Thanos is incredibly awesome in this episode.
He's a Ravager.
So
it's crazy, dude. I mean,
and a good Ravager, but a Ravager that's fighting his inner nature to destroy the entire universe, which is a kind of like a through line throughout the entire episode.
But it was a good idea.
Yeah, I love the interplay between the characters. Like you said, Jaman Hansu's character was almost revering Star-Lord as a god himself for the entire
that was
episode.
funny.
I mean, there was so many things here that went perfectly right, and that's why I say this for me was clearly, hands down, the best episode that we've seen of What If so far. There's no question in my
I
mind.
do want to hear. I do want to hear from AJ and Eli. I'm very interested in Eli's
Yeah, I agree.
perspective because this is very. This feels like again. I'm a little bit shocked that this isn't your favorite episode.
Yep.
So why?
Oh wait, I go. Okay.
Yes.
I go.
Yes, that was your cue.
That is my answer.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, it sucks.
Okay. No, it was okay. Okay. It was awesome, especially Thanos. Thanos was honestly one of the very few highlights of the show.
One of the very
of
few
the-
highlights.
Yeah,
Of this episode?
No, okay, no, not very few. He's one of the highlights of this episode, especially obviously Chadwick Boseman reprising. Well, not he's coming back to the thing
What didn't
with
you
his role of
what
Star-Lord.
what didn't you like about it? I guess
But
is the question.
it's not what I didn't like. It's what I liked more about
Mhm,
the
mhm.
Captain Britain, Captain America episode thing.
Mhm.
That's because look, this episode had a lot of good things about it. I mean, obviously, it had the better story. It wasn't as rushed. You had awesome characters such as Thanos.
Mhm.
I have to bring it up again.
Gamora with a wig.
Gamora with the what the? Oh yeah,
That's not
no,
Nebula.
Nebula.
Nebula. I'm sorry.
Gamora,
Freaking Nebula with the wig.
Gamora wasn't
What
in
the-
it, so I wonder where she is also. But
Yeah.
That looked cursed, but
Looked weird.
yeah, it really did. But for the most part, it was a really good episode. There's not much for me to say about it because honestly, it was really good and I absolutely enjoyed it. But for the Captain Carter thing, I just felt that even though it had a lot of problems, it felt like I enjoyed it a little bit more, mainly because I don't know.
gotta go with your
I
heart.
just like how it played
You
out.
gotta go with your heart
Yeah,
sometimes. Mhm.
I really don't know what I enjoyed so much more. It's just that I enjoyed it so much more. Yeah, it's weird. Whatever.
Jose, you have a thought?
Yeah, let me kind of jump in here, I guess, and say, I think
And
for
then
me,
throw it back to AJ, please.
what I really enjoyed about it was the aspect of like what if comics, the fun of it for me personally, and it's different for everybody, but the fun of it for me is like how crazy they go with it, how much they change. And so the fact that they changed T'Challa, the fact that they changed actual Star-Lord, the fact that they changed where Ego shows up, Thanos is there, the Ravagers are good guys, Yondu has a better dental plan apparently because T'Challa shows up. Like these little details, these little things that they change, the little in jokes, like the fact that they convince us that T'Challa debated Thanos into not snapping half the universe out of existence was
Yes.
hilarious. I thought it was
Yes.
fun and funny. I thought that like Benicio del Toro reprising his role as the Collector was fun. And even like having Howard the Duck in the episode for like 2 minutes, Seth Green being a
Yes.
goof for like a couple of minutes. All those little fun things that they threw in, that they almost threw in as much craziness in the Captain Carter episode. But for me, What If is about just throw in more crazy. Give me more alternate universe characters. Like that's what I really enjoy about it. So that's why I love this episode a little bit more than the first one and a lot more than the third one, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
What's up, AJ? How about you, sir?
I was just about to say that. I thought the Collector was oddly good. I didn't
Yeah.
expect him to be that be that intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was also kind of surprising to see that Hela didn't have her helmet,
That was cool.
so that it assumes she's
I
dead.
love that. He's like, this
Which is
woman
kinda
had
weird, but
taste.
okay.
Yo.
That was a cool moment.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
was. What was I gonna say? It's my favorite episode so far.
Okay, so we got 2 out of the 3.
Oh, just to get on
Okay.
AJ's point about the Collector too, I really liked how they justified how he became almost a Thanos level threat because he just had all these crazy artifacts and weapons like Hela's helmet that allowed him to generate like the the freaking swords that Hela could generate. Like that was cool. He was like, let me pull out a cool new weapon to kick your butt. That was a cool way to make him like a Thanos level villain, which Thanos even mentioned. That's when Thanos vacated that position, the Collector stepped in. So I thought that was cool too, AJ. I agree with that 100%. You know?
Yeah, it also kind of gave me an Ultron vibe too, because I got implications that he also went to Earth in place of Thanos. Because not only was Hela's helmet over there, you saw Cap's shield, you saw Mjolnir, you saw a bunch of other Avengers stuff there
Mhm.
too.
Shoot.
So it's kind of implied he took out the Avengers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wait a minute. AJ,
So that's
maybe he didn't. Maybe you just found the connection between episodes. Mjolnir died, right? Captain America wasn't even back yet in the third episode. They found his shield. Maybe this is where the multiverse kind of connects. Maybe that is the same universe. I don't know, but
This is
like
the
it's
Indiana.
possible.
This is the Indiana Jones and AJ coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I know because Walt said that they weren't connected, but I kind of disagree. I think they really are all in the same place. The only thing that's a little off is that in the third episode, you see that what's it? Captain America's shield is on
Yeah,
ice.
still.
But if this were connected to the first episode, it wouldn't even be there because Peggy went into the weird Tesseract dimension with her shield.
Mhm.
Did she have
So
the same shield as Captain America though? Well, didn't she have a Captain
yeah,
Britain shield? Like a different one? I don't remember that detail. So
no,
No, she was just called because
she's
she was called Captain Carter.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
no allegiance to Britain in that episode. She was basically a stepping for Captain America.
Why'd they call her Captain Britain?
no,
though?
they didn't.
They didn't call her Captain.
No,
She-
they didn't. They
she
called
was
it Captain
called
Carter.
Captain Carter.
it was a joke Steve made in jest, but they
Oh,
called
shoot.
her Captain Carter.
Okay, so then Captain Carter. Captain
Mhm.
Carter.
But no, yeah. I'm looking at it
Yeah,
again.
so-
Her shield on the episode had the British flag on it. It was not a Captain America shield.
Yeah. I'm,
Really?
Yeah, it's not. She
Yeah, I'm
she
pretty sure
she
it
had
was
a British
Captain
flag
Britain.
on her outfit and a British flag on her shield. So for all intents and purposes, she's like not
So
Captain
then, who
Britain,
the heck was in
but she
ice?
is. That's why it could still be connected, right? Maybe that's Isaiah Bradley,
That's
right? They
interesting.
never showed Steve
No,
Rogers.
no.
Maybe yeah.
They never showed
Yeah,
Steve
I'd
Rogers,
no.
you know. And if, like I said, look up the photos. She's got a British flag on all of her stuff.
What
So
if
that
this
was not
episode
her
is
on
starting
ice.
to, like,
And we don't know
unravel?
where she is in these futures.
No.
It's a little.
It has to
I don't know.
be in
It's
different
kind of out there how we
universes.
could get this to
No,
work.
no.
Yeah, well,
Hmm.
and that's interesting. But then that means also that T'Challa is in the future, as opposed to the next episode, which is technically the past. If that's the case,
That
We
would
might
also
be
mean
reaching though a little bit. We might be reaching.
Yeah.
well, I
And
was
that would also.
I always understood it as
Yeah.
this definitely being multiversal. You know that
Right. That's what I'm saying. That I think
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
reaching. Yeah. So
I do wanna say that one of the funnier things was the ineptitude showed by the Ravagers when they were supposed to retrieve Peter Quill and mistakenly took T'Challa.
Yes.
It gave me that whole Nightmare Before Christmas type of thing where they were supposed to kidnap
Santa
Santa Claus and they ended up taking the Easter Bunny.
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
All right, so episode 3, the episode that I thought would have been the most what if one, just from reading the stuff that I've read. I didn't read a lot, just to just kind of let you guys know, it's not like I've read the entire, everything that happened. I just read mostly the synopsis, so I don't know exactly what happened. But I do know that in the episode "What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes," the Avengers all die.
Pretty much.
And so that to me was like a
Yeah.
very stark, no
Stark.
pun intended, actually. since he
He
dies
is the first
in
one.
Endgame.
He's the first
He was
one.
the first one to go also.
I thought that like this one had like the most what if just because of everything that happens in there. The Avengers dying, Loki coming to like the rescue, Loki, I guess, becoming what he was aiming to become the entire time, the ruler of Earth, and then Hank Pym being the antagonist. Reading this, I was like, "Whoa, I need to see this episode for sure."
Hank Pym as the antagonist was fun. I think that was my favorite.
Right, because Hank, he kind of is a little like always on the edge of like ready to like just punch someone in the face.
He's a jerk in the
had
comics.
some very cringe. Yeah, he's had some very cringe-worthy storylines in the comics, to be honest. And I think that's kind of the reason why they went Scott Lang instead of Hank Pym for the Ant-Man movies, because man, Hank Pym is really tough, especially if you're talking about Disney. That's kind of doing this. It's tough to bring him in and kind of honor his storylines, because some of those storylines are bad.
Especially as a total hero, because he's
That's
been
all I could say.
He's been a villain.
You know?
He like beat up his wife. Like, it's like, yo, how do we bring this to screen?
Yeah, he's killed
I
people.
I think that Ant-Man was always one of those comics that, like, before there was a cohesive Marvel universe, there were just a bunch of comics that kind of like were meant to, sell on, just get rid of them, put, print whatever we can print, and that's it. That's why we have so many crazy superheroes and so on and so forth. Very rarely at that time did we get a Spider-Man where even Spider-Man he wasn't even meant to be a superhero. They were literally like, no, this story is too dumb. We're gonna let it die in this amazing fantasy, show and episode, this amazing fantasy series that nobody cares about, and it's also going to be the last book in its series that they were killing off anyway. But AJ, haven't heard enough from you, and then this episode reeks AJ all over it. So
Yeah, I was really surprised when they killed off the Hulk. Like, I was like, what? Oh my god. Also, kind of like the detail where he's not Ant-Man either. He's actually Yellow Jacket.
That is true.
So, and I like how
okay.
they kind of fuse those two suits also, because the they have the like the helmet design of Ant-Man, but the rest of it was just Yellow Jacket, especially with those printer type things coming out that shoot the little lasers. Pew pew. Um
The Yellow Jacket costume is actually a really cool looking design
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Also, right?
um yeah, it was it was kind of sad also, because it was like they said it in the episode. Yeah, these are the Avengers who didn't even get to avenge.
I had
The
an idea
non-Vengers.
that Nick Fury
The
line.
non-Vengers.
He was like,
Yes.
Yes.
that was
And literally the only hope this universe has is possibly a Steve Rogers and Ice and Captain Marvel. And technically you'd be good with Captain Marvel alone.
I think Captain Carter is
But,
in this universe. There's no
It'd
reason she
still
couldn't be. If you think about it.
I don't know though. Kind of.
Well, what would exclude her from being in this
I'm
universe?
kind of leaning away from that now.
Because she could be.
Because
She could have
it's
showed up
kinda
just
like,
before. No, just before the Avengers got killed. It's possible.
yeah, but like if you're looking at it narratively, you'd be going from the past to the future to the quote unquote present. That feels a little disjointed to me.
Which
Well,
future?
I mean, I think it's meant to feel
was it?
disjointed. I think that like I am now after listening to everything so far, I am now like 50-50 on whether this is multi universe
No. But
or if it's all one universe, just a different one.
I think they're
no,
starting
but
in
that
different
that would
universes.
take away from the whole.
Go ahead, Eli.
No, but
Mhm.
if you have it all connected in the same universe, that just takes away from the point of what if. The what if is supposed to be about the different multiverses. If you're just gonna follow just one
That hasn't been
universe, then what was
confirmed
the whole
though.
point? Huh?
Because it could be like, what if this is just another universe?
No, that's just horrible. That takes away from it, bro. Like I'm not even trying to, but
I think it
it's
depends
just
on how
it
they
doesn't really make
do
sense.
it. I think Eli, like, I think it's a bit premature to say like it automatically takes away from it. I think we need to see what they do with it first. Because if
Yeah.
it's somehow that connected in all kind of multiverses, let's see where they go with it. You know, to say like, oh, this is all in the same universe, or it's going to end up in the same universe and it's automatically trash. I think we should maybe step away from that idea. But I mean, we'll see.
No.
We'll see.
If it
you know?
if if it if it ends up in the same universe, I'm fine with that. But I'm talking about if everything. Well, wait, is that the same thing? Wait, hold on.
Well, Captain
I'm
Carter
talking about if
isn't in the same universe. That
if
much
Ca-
is confirmed.
okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's maybe the last two
I think
episodes are
I
in the
think
same universe. Maybe.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think we could
know.
put that argument a little bit to rest because one of the writers, the head writer, AC Bradley, did kind of confirm that this is a multiverse.
Yeah.
The only he does say they wanted to play it a little bit closer to the existing MCU, but they're spinning off moments that we clearly know and recognize. And another thing that he says is that we're going to show both Marvel and the fans all the weird and wild places that the multiverse can go and just get them excited for it. So I
Yeah.
think we can kind of put that to rest, but there is a case to be made that we're still kind of working within the MCU's kind of sandbox because even though these are multiverses, they're playing off of the existing universe.
Mhm.
So, and clearly, I guess eventually we may get to that one singular universe again, and maybe this is a really good a way of introducing the fans to different characters that may show up eventually. You know,
Well, I have one thing that I want to talk about, and it's Loki. So Loki
I was
basically
actually just gonna
gets.
say that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, AJ, go ahead.
Yeah, he comes in
Please.
the second
Yeah,
slot.
like
Take it away.
it's
yeah,
pretty.
big
I
time.
kind of like how. Well, I mean, granted, that would have happened if Thor died, but kind of just Odin saying, "You know what? Screw Midgard. Just screw them all. Loki, just deal with this. I don't give a crap about this anymore." And he kind of just goes, "Sure." I mean, you don't really see it on screen, but the way Loki was allowed to handle this situation, you kind of got the vibe that Odin was like really pissed.
Oh yeah.
And then he was even using he was even using the what's it? He was using the ice box. I don't know what that's called.
Oh,
The Jotun ice box.
Yeah,
Jotunheim thing, whatever it is. I don't remember what it was called either. But
yeah, I forgot what it's called.
use that to attack and destroy the army.
The only other thing that struck me as odd was that he was using Odin's spear. So either Odin let him take care of this, or maybe it's one of those things where he's in the Odin sleep.
Well, I just want
Or
to
he killed him.
mention this as to why I think
I
there's
doubt
connections.
that, but
Well,
yeah.
think about it this
you
way.
could
Think about it
take
this
it
way.
away.
If all of the events of the Thor movies never happen, Odin does not die. If Odin does not die, Hela does not return. If Hela does not return, then that makes it, and Hela doesn't get her power back. That means that the Collector might be able to go and grab like that stuff from Hela somehow, whatever world that she's in. Like if you think about how like possibly some of these characters fit in these last two episodes, I think there's a distinct possibility that they might somehow be. Some of these episodes are in the same multiverse. One thing I want to say about this episode that bothered me though was like, man, they killed Thor off way easy, man. One arrow is all it takes to take out Thor. One arrow from Hawkeye. Didn't we spend a couple of movies even Hawkeye made
Well,
a
he
comment
was
how
human.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
I mean, but
I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean, but like they
Yeah,
could have
but you
explained
do have to remember he lost all his powers.
not all
They
of
did
them.
explain it in the Thor movie. He lost all his powers when he lost
Most of them.
I would say
majority. He was depowered.
yeah,
He was a
He
fallen
was
god
stripped
at
from
that
everything.
point.
Remember,
he was still
his banishment was to live among the humans as a human on
yeah, that's true.
Midgard.
he was still
So-
far more capable than a normal human. But like, okay, I'll give you that. The thing that
He wasn't invincible though.
yeah, that's I'll give you that. That's okay. Like I can kind of like get over that part. The part of the episode that jarred me a little too much is that when they were setting up the villain, the fact that they never mentioned anything about what happened to Hope, it kind of made the reveal of Hank Pym as the villain, even though I liked him as the villain, it made it just way too disjointed for me. It was just like, hey, Hope
That's
was a
why-
shield agent and she died. And so like Hank Pym is mad. Like they didn't hint at it. They didn't do anything to set that up. So to me, that was like a misstep in that particular episode. That's me personally. But I mean, it was entertaining.
That was one of the reasons why.
Yeah. I mean, and the end of the episode was more entertaining to
That
me.
was one of the reasons
than
why
the
I
beginning.
didn't like this episode.
Loki was fun and all of that. So
Yeah.
Well,
it was all right.
so here's the point that I wanted to make. It's that if this is still all supposed to be canon, and Loki actually achieves his what is it, glorious purpose
Yes.
in becoming the the ruler of Earth and getting what he wants, essentially. Is this happening after the events of the show Loki?
Of course, all of this
It's
is.
happening
Yes.
during
Right.
I
So
would
like I
agree
know,
so.
but like does this then confirm it?
it's happening during, before, and
Well,
after.
I
if you
think
think about
this
time
may
travel.
be one of those.
Sorry. go
This
ahead.
this probably is one of those multiple paths after they killed Kang. I think
Right,
I
exactly.
think the sacred timeline is no longer sacred anymore. You
Right.
have all these multiple paths, so maybe this is one of the consequences of the death of he who remains.
I think
Maybe
this
he's not Kang,
confirms
but-
it, right? Because beforehand they couldn't let him get there.
Right.
In any iteration of Loki, it was never meant to get there. So I
Yep.
think this confirms it. I would assume that every episode is after the events of the timeline. Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
likely, yes.
I do agree.
I mean, who knows? Even maybe we'll get an
Okay.
appearance from He Who Remains or Kang. Maybe not even in this season. Maybe in season
You know
2.
what's
It's
interesting?
possible, right?
What if this tells the story of the origins of the sacred timeline? What if we're looking at this all wrong?
That's possible too. That's not a bad
what
idea.
if
That's a possibility, also.
what if this is the story of how he who remains got control of the multiverse?
Or this could be
I
Original.
don't know. That's
Yeah.
that's a whole millennium of stories
that's
that need to be
true.
told.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool
'Cause
though.
then you got to retell. Then you got to actually talk about like what happens after the events of Loki. Anyway,
I feel like they're setting it up
um,
possibly though.
uh,
It's not a bad idea.
I think that What If definitely sounds interesting enough to sit through, watch, and wait for the next episode over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun show.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's not a bad show.
Next
Okay.
episode.
I mean,
next
it doesn't
episode
seem like
has Doctor
like
Strange.
it doesn't seem like Marvel disappoints.
No.
Unlike the other Disney franchise that was bought out.
We'll see what they have
Looking at
coming in the
you.
future there as well.
Looking at
though.
you, real quick, I know that this is completely unrelated to this, but what's the over under that Book of Boba will just be a third version of the Mandalorian? Monster of the week, mission of the week.
Please
and
no.
that there's gonna
Please
be,
no.
and that there's gonna be a child that a mysterious child in origin that they have to rescue at some point.
Yes.
Oh, please no.
I hope they lean
please,
into.
Please say it ain't so.
I hope they lean into how cool he is as a bad guy. If
Yo.
Disney decides to do like almost like a Breaking Bad type thing, obviously not as adult or like anything like that, but like a Breaking Bad style thing with Boba Fett, that would be to me the absolute best way to do it. Like show how he like became such a hardened bounty hunter, but like it seems like it's gonna be. You know what? That's probably not possible because
Yeah,
it seems like it's
absolutely.
in the present. So like you're
Yeah.
not going to get to see that unless it's flashbacks. I don't know if I would want to do it that way. But I mean,
No, actually, we
Yeah.
are gonna get. It's
Omega
actually confirmed
Grogu.
that it's gonna be flashbacks.
Oh,
and
there
they're
are.
gonna be going into how he became.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you
they
know,
are.
I would like to see that.
That's
Omega
actually
Grogu.
not impossible that Omega could show up in the book
Omega
of Boba Fett.
Grogu.
In the book of Fett.
Omega Grogu.
No, I'm talking about Omega.
No, Omega Grogu.
No, okay. You're
Boba Fett has to save both of them. Yes.
I think I messed up because this is supposed to be a what if episode. What if we ended the episode right here and right now?
That sounds solid. Sounds solid. All right, so let's jump into the final stuff. As usual, y'all know we're recording remotely. That's all I'll say about that. Hit us up in the DMs if there are any sound issues or artifacts. The best way to support your favorite podcast crew, as always, like, rate, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, throw us a review. That really generates a lot of engagement on Apple Podcasts and on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Get Geek Podcast. Hit us up in our DMs, slide into our DMs, make some comments on our posts, like, rate, share, and subscribe to those as well. And that's the best way to support y'all crew. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And as Wolfie said, what if we end this right here? There's really only one thing left to say, and I don't know what that is. My friends out there, please stay geeky, y'all. Later.